there's a sector that's for so long in this country, we've talked a lot about how there's a lot of potential in so many sectors. And what we're going to be talking about today is one of those sectors where we know that we do have those resources, but they always seem so untapped. I have here with me Bekeme Masade. Did I murder your name?
No.
Okay. Executive Director, CSR in Action. Thank you very much for being here. And Chiweta Urai, Programs Manager, CSR in Action.
Thank you.
We're talking about the extractive industry. It does seem very self-explanatory, but give us an idea what it is, what it is about.
What about?
The extractive industry. What does it entail? What does it mean?
Well, primarily it's the energy and the mining sectors and related professional services around those two major areas. And mining encompasses different things. So yes, it's oil and gas and mining of different natural resources.
Okay, it's a sector, like I said, I know a lot of people do say that we have serious potential and we have all of these resources, but we don't seem to have tapped it enough, have we?
No, especially the other things. Oil and gas, of course, that's our bread and butter. So there's been
everybody's head
of,
is there.
Exactly. So obviously there needs to be some sort of diversification into the other areas. Apparently a long time ago with Enugu and all the coal that he had, that was one of a booming sector in Nigeria, but obviously that has changed. So obviously things need to be done to resurrect these other sectors so that people will stop killing each other as a result of this famous oil blessing or curse. We're trying to determine which it is.
Why is it so hard for us to go into that sector? Because I know I've heard, like you said, there's coal in Enugu. We hear about bitumen in so many places. These are resources that are actually, that earns a lot of revenue. Yeah. Why don't we even bother?
Well, I think that's why we're having this seminar, which I'm sure you're going to talk on. I mean, it's not just about, we do realize that oil and gas is one of, like Bekeme has said, oil and gas for Nigeria. But at the end of the day, we have to look at policies and look at how we can diversify into these other areas and make sure it's sustainable within the sector. So that's one of the issues we are facing, and that's why we're having this kind of seminar. We have it annually. Excuse me. So we're having this seminar to bring up these topics and talk about how we can work towards ensuring that we diversify. Yeah.
Amongst other things.
Yeah. So, okay, we're going to get to all of the supposed side effects and all of that, but a lot of people don't even know what we have in this country. Now, give us like a sort of idea of the sort of resources we have that can be extracted, besides oil now.
Oh my goodness.
And gas.
Well, we're not really like a specialist in this area, you see what I mean, but we try to advocate for good governance. We try to advocate for transparency within the sector. That's what's our role as an organization, CSR in Action. We're not going to tell you the kind of hydrocarbon or the blood that has been fled, but exactly. So, but then what
we're doing is bring in experts to talk about this industry and to talk about how we can develop the appropriate policies. And then obviously apart from developing the policies is the implementation of these policies, because we do have regulations in country that are not being properly utilized. Take for instance, you say that, many oil companies have said, we have to give 95% or so of our profit to NNPC or the government, and we don't know what they do with the money and all of that. However, we do find that these oil and gas companies it's what they declare to the government that the government actually just takes as a given as their profit. However, we've heard that they tend to load their expenditure. Yeah. They tend to even load international expenditure onto local expenditure, so that it seems like, this is what we spent. This minutiae portion is what our profit is. So we need good people to really make sure that these industries are run like a person's personal business. So it's not like it's a free-for-all type of money for everybody to just, that's what they say, just take it, and then whatever even gets the government, we hardly see. You understand? So basically what we're trying to do is for the various stakeholders from government, private sector, civil society, all of these people to come and discuss what the problems are and the solutions as well. And then this year is policy. Last year was managing your value chain that we had the seminar around. This year it's policy, affirmative action, and sustained growth. Yeah. Okay. So basically that's what it is.
Is this focused on every single sector, or what are you zeroing in on?
Well, I would say we're zeroing on on oil and gas, but of course we can't leave out mining and of course other viable sectors within the industry, basically.
Yeah. Well, this is not a very pretty, cheap job for anybody to go into. So why is that your focus? I mean, even if you're going to mine for coal or whatever it is, even when you don't have proper equipment, it's going to take you a lot of man hours and funds. Why is that your focus? Something that's supposedly not capitally friendly?
Well, that's our focus because it can be capital friendly. It can be done better. We can actually, right now we're saying that it's responsible for about 80% of our revenue. You can actually achieve more. You can actually get more out of it. So it's not being done properly, even though it's been done. And it's also, like I said, it's very critical to the Nigerian economy. So the fact that we're dependent on this oil and it would not last forever means that we have to make the most of it. So it's critical. It needs to be discussed. It's caused conflict. Where are you from? What state are you from?
Anambra State.
Anambra State. Okay, so you're not from one of the oil-producing states. If you were,
we are.
I'm from a state.
We're fighting with Kogi State now for one small well.
So you see how you're fighting for it. Do you see how critical it is? And we found that people don't actually discuss it. People who just manage to enter as a result of maybe godfathers, or they were just seeded one oil well somewhere, just go into it and just make money and just get out, or just there's really no proper governance around that area. And as an organization, that's something that we drive, advocacy for good governance across sectors. And so we've decided, as has everybody, that this sector is critical, so it needs to be addressed.
What are some of the things that you want addressed?
Well, as we've said already, policy implementation is the very first thing. Last year, we spoke about managing your value chain. We thought, oh, look, when we started this with the Deputy High Commissioner of Canada last year, we had said it was imperative to look at your stakeholders, your supply chain. How do you handle your communities within your operational areas? And then when we had the seminar last year, we had a post-event report. And then judging from what we discovered, it was like, oh, okay, look, we have to, besides talking about stakeholders and people that you work with, or interact with, why don't we ensure that these policies that have been drafted are effectively implemented? So we said, okay, look, this year, let's look at these areas, and that's what we hope to address.
Another thing is transparency and accountability in this area. We had a press conference on Thursday, and we found out that this is what the players in the oil and gas sector have said is a problem, so we as an organization have always driven something called sustainability reporting. Now, sustainability reporting is a way that an organization, whether it be public, private, civil society, can open themselves up to scrutiny, right? So we have to promote this sort of accountability to reduce the amount of fighting and everything, because the communities as well have said, we're not happy with the way that the profit from our land is being shared. So how about there's some sort of open dialogue for us to discuss the way that it's beneficial to us, which is why last year the Deputy High Commissioner of Canada was critical to this, because Canada is a diverse nation with a diversity of resources as well, and they've managed to arrive at some equilibrium amongst all parties. That's what we're driving for our own. We've been trying to get the government representatives from the oil and gas sector in particular to attend, but you find that these people think that we're there to serve them rather than them being public servants, so it's hard to, if you don't know somebody, then they're like, I don't really want to be drilled. They don't really want to answer questions. So this is a huge problem in Nigeria as a whole, you would agree. Now imagine that in a sector where there's so much money flying around and nobody wants to answer any questions, then obviously there's a problem.